You don't need a college degree to be successful, to be wealthy, to make the kind of money that you want to make. You just need a skill set, some hustle, some work ethic, some go get, and you can do it.
Welcome to another episode of the Traffic Sales and Profit Show. I'm your host, Lamar Tyler. And today is a great episode because oftentimes we talk about financial literacy, but what we don't talk about enough is starting younger and training and ingraining financial literacy into our young people. And it's especially exactly what we're doing today with Reid. She's the CEO of the Themasterplaybook. And I'm excited to have you here on the set today, Holly.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Now, like I said, we talk about financial literacy a lot. It's becoming like a buzzword in a lot of places. And we're seeing, rightfully so, right? It's being integrated in school systems more, integrated in social media more, right?
Yep.
Like everywhere I go, I'm getting nuggets and information. But again, I love what you're doing because you made it your mission to start at a younger age. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. So a lot of times we talk about financial literacy and states have really started catching on. They're passing legislation so that it becomes mandatory to teach a personal finance class, at least in high school. So kudos to Georgia, Michigan, Florida, all the states who have picked up on this trend. But what I think is high school is too late. We've got to start earlier. We've got to start planting those seeds, elementary school, middle school, so that by the time they are in high school, they've mastered it. They know what to do. So when they leave your house, when they are no longer the birds in the nest, they can move independently, but with confidence, with knowledge, with the know-how, so that they can avoid a lot of the financial pitfalls that maybe I faced or maybe you faced growing up.
Oh, this is good. So, and that's a great segue because I want to get into some of the things that parents or maybe not even parents, if you have like young people in your life that you love, that they can kind of share with them. But first we do, let's talk about some of those pitfalls, right? I know you ain't had no pitfalls.
Oh, listen,
I mean, you had to have it all together. I was like, Holly had it all together. No pitfalls in his life for Holly's. You had pitfalls?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's really how the Playbook came about, right? So it was my own financial awakening in my mid-20s. I was working for one of the top public accounting firms. Living the life. They had me traveling all over the world, international assignments, staying in Ritz-Carlton, flying first class, like really living the life. I felt like I was the epitome of success. I had done all the things. By nature, I'm a rule follower. Okay. So I did all the things my parents taught me to do. I graduated from North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride. Was an accounting major there, graduated with honors. My dad really instilled in me and my sisters to buy a house. So by 23, I bought a house. But working for this public accounting firm, I was really kind of feeling myself, making good money. But what I realized is I was also following the rules that our America teaches us to do, right?
Yes.
And these are the things that lead to those pitfalls where I was living above my means, not saving a dime, accumulating a bunch of debt. I'm talking credit card debt, student loan debt, auto loans. I told you I bought a house, so I was furnishing the house, doing all the things. And then the dot-com bubble burst. And the firm I was working with, they started losing clients, and little Miss Epitome of Success lost her job. And so it was.
Sound wholly like my story.
Listen, does it really?
Yeah, this sounds like there's a lot of similarities in here, but yes.
Yeah. So it was in that moment where I lost my job. I was devastated. I was embarrassed. I was humiliated, and I had to go and crawl back to my parents to have this conversation, to tell them their baby girl was just laid off. And it was probably me preparing for that conversation, how I was going to tell them. I wanted to come with my plan, what I was going to do next. But again, I was just more ashamed that I had not been more prepared for it. And so it was in that conversation that I said, you know what? This will never happen to me again. Y'all will not catch me slipping. So that's when I just started reading everything I could, listening to all the experts at the time, from Dave Ramsey to Susie Orman, all the people at the time. And so now I have my own opinions about some of those practices.
Oh, we might get into some opinions later too. You just try to slip that and keep moving. We might get into those opinions, but okay.
But it was through that, just, listening to them, practicing it, honing it, making it my own, because personal finances is personal, right? So you got to figure out what works for you. That I started to see, okay, it's not just me. I'm not the only one falling into these same credit card traps or falling into, taking on too much too soon. So what could I possibly do to help others avoid the experience that I went through? And so that's when I came up with the solution of, we need to start younger. We need to start talking to these kids younger. And so I was really involved in an organization, National Association of Black Accountants. And they have a high school program where they introduce kids to, careers in accounting and finance. And I rose my hand. I was like, you know what? I want to talk to these kids about money management. And just having those early conversations really opened my eyes to how much our kids did not know. I mean, these are scholars getting ready to make some of the most important financial decisions of their life. What college am I going to go to? What career am I going to pursue? All those things determine what kind of money you're going to make, what kind of lifestyle you'll be able to live. And so I'll give you an example. So we're talking to very smart teenagers getting ready to go to college. And I'm like, somebody tell me the difference between a debit card and a credit card. They couldn't tell me. And I was floored. I was like, wait, no.
Yeah, you need to know that.
You need to know that. You need to know. And so that's when I just really started diving in deeper and trying to see, what can I do? How can I package something to make it really easy? But really talking to the parents, like, hey, parents, your kids don't know what you might think they know.
And that's good, because I think a lot of times, right, parents, being busy, working jobs, doing all the things they do, right, shelling the kids around, leave a lot of education on the schools. But again, the schools traditionally have not provided this education at all.
Right.
So, like you said, like we've been kind of ill-prepared, ill-equipped when we get out into the real world. But at the real world, like the real world's waiting for you. When you're at that college campus,
hey.
When I was in Morgan, Discover Card was right on that yard. Listen. Like, hey, I got young man. They was like, young man, I got some money for you.
Listen.
And a free hat and some socks and a t-shirt.
I tell people all the time, I graduated from A&T with a bachelor's of science degree in accounting and a master's in credit card debt. And on average, they say college students graduate with at least $4,000 to $5,000 of credit card debt. Now, student loan debt, that's a whole nother topic. We trying to solve for that, but we can't wait till the government solves for it.
Exactly.
We've got to start, proactively preparing, planning, so that that's not something that holds them back when they are finally, making some real money. We don't want all their money going to the student loan debt, or the credit card debt, or the auto loans. So we got to start this financial education, closing that gap sooner.
Especially in college. You think about it, in college, most of the stuff you use your credit card for was stupid.
Child.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Like when you're an adult, you might have some real things to do with your credit card. But like you was in college.
Homecoming outfits. You want to splurge with your friends. Drive road trips. Oh, I'll fill up your tank of gas.
Your old friends coming to town. You know what I'm saying? You treating everybody.
We had no idea. We had no idea. No idea. We thought we could handle it, and then it can just quickly get away from you.
It can.
Yeah.
So, all right, so this is so good. So, you go through your own life circumstances. Then you say, hey, you know what? I want to focus on helping, younger people earlier before they get ready and prepared. What are some of the misconceptions you see a lot of times when it comes to financial literacy and education around young people? And sometimes you mentioned some with the young people themselves. Like, are they ones with their parents as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the misconceptions that I see are that, oh, well, we have money now. Like, this is the parents thinking.
Yeah.
we have money, so my kids they will be set up, right? And so even with your audience, even with entrepreneurs with their kids, what is the point of building the businesses you're building? What is the point of accumulating a bunch of wealth if we don't leave a blueprint for those behind us so they don't just blow it, right?
Yep.
We want to teach our kids on how to continue to grow it, how to double, triple, quadruple what we've given them, so that it can extend to generations we may never know, right? So some of the biggest mistakes that I see parents make, one, either they don't do anything at all, right? So they are intimidated by finances. They're like, well, I don't want to teach my child a wrong thing, so I'm not going to say anything at all.
So like a lack of education.
A lack of education.
I see lots of, I think, not with money, but in other instances where parents also have not just a fear, but embarrassment.
Oh, yeah.
And like a level of shame that I don't,
Listen.
like I said, I don't even know what to teach you, so I don't even want to bring it up.
Right.
Because I don't want you to know that I don't know anything, because I'm supposed to be the one that knows all the stuff.
Exactly. And we've got to get rid of that. So the one thing I do say to parents who, feel that way, feel that shame, or they may be embarrassed from their own money mishaps, is I say you don't have to have a PhD to start conversations about money with your kids.
That's good.
So that's one of the things that I give to my clients, like prompts. So no matter what age your child is, what are some questions you can start asking them? Where does money come from? Let's hear what the answer is. Oh, it comes from trees. Or, no, technically, yes, you can make paper out of money, but, it comes from work. And, helping them understand the relationship between working hard and being rewarded. And so every child has a job. So I talk to the parents all the time about making sure that your child understands that relationship between, working hard and being rewarded. And the reward doesn't always have to be money, of course.
Yeah.
But, it starts at home, like chores. Every child should have something that they are responsible for, that when they complete it at home, it makes the entire household run smoother. And people are like, well, I have a 4-year-old. What can she do? Pair them socks. I'm doing laundry. Start pairing those socks, okay? When I do the laundry. When the laundry is done, your reward is your favorite snack, or more screen time, or, we go out and get an ice cream, whatever it is the child enjoys doing, right? So one of the misconceptions, to get back to your original question, is they don't do anything. The second one you already hit on, they rely heavily on the school system, right? And so I know that the school system doesn't teach financial education consistently. They may get a little bit in a math class, a little bit in social studies, which I am happy and excited about the legislation. But like I mentioned earlier, we've got to start earlier.
Yeah.
It's too late. Like high school, they're making life decisions. They're making big money decisions. And so if you haven't planted those seeds along the way, they're going to be throwing fits and tantrums when you tell them, no, you can't go to the school of your choice because we can't afford it, right? No, you need to go to the local community college first. Nothing wrong with the community college. You need to go there first to, save up some money, or to get those basic credit classes out of the way before we start throwing down $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in college, right?
And this is, if I interject something, this is good, and it's timely, because you mentioned before, like, hey, society, the world, the country is like telling us to do all these things over here. I got 5 upcoming TSP game plan conference. And just in general, like TSP Live and conversations I've been having with entrepreneurs more, I'm having a talk that, like, most of the time, whatever society is telling us to do is actually the wrong thing most of it. It's like not for our good, right? It's like if society is telling us, like, hey, you should do this with your money, you probably should be looking like, that probably ain't the thing to do with your money. Because I'm like, if you look, most people in society don't actually live a life that you want to live.
Right.
So why would you do all the things that everybody in society is doing?
Right. And that is the danger of like social media now, right? Because people take the snapshots of the things they want you to see, or a life that it isn't even theirs.
Right. That's correct.
Right. So they go and rent places to take photos, or they pay someone to make things look a certain way. So that's why it's really important to talk to our kids so they know the difference between what's real and what's for show.
And I want to break into something else you said, because you mentioned college, and like the cost of college is amazing. If I look at like the cost of college, I think I was in state, but I could have swore I was paying like because I had a scholarship, I lost it. Long story.
Yeah.
Not a story for story for another time. Story for another story for another time, Holly. So I was paying out of pocket. My second year, I was paying out of pocket myself. Well, I could have swore I was only paying like $1,300-$1,500 a semester,
Ooh,
like in state.
nice.
But
That
so like
sounds
now
lovely.
to see to see that you can go to a HBCU that might be charging 50 grand a year, like
Blows your mind. doesn't it?
blows my mind.
I actually tried to go and research because I didn't know how much
Yeah.
it was costing. I think based off of some research I did when I was at A&T, it might have been $15,000 a semester as an out-of-state student.
Yeah.
So $30,000 a year and times 4. Huh? Who?
Yeah.
What? I'm the youngest of 4 girls. All of my sisters went to college. My oldest, the oldest finished in 3 years. She got out. The other 2 had scholarships, which made it possible for me to go
Yeah.
to North Carolina A&T. I can distinctly remember a conversation because I wouldn't apply to any other schools. I had chosen North Carolina A&T. That's where I wanted to go. And my sister, the one right next to me, Bridget would go to my dad and was like, "When you gonna tell her she can't? When you gonna tell her she can't?"
Bridget sounded like she was hating a little bit. She had like a little tinge of hating.
And my dad was like, "I'm not gonna tell her that. We don't know if she can go or not. We just have to see.
Yeah.
Like, how much money is the school gonna give us? Where else can we get funding from?" So
let Bridget let the process play out, right? Like Bridget was jumping the gun.
Bridget was like, "Look, you ain't doing all this. But you know, the youngest, we got big dreams.
Exactly.
We gonna do what it do."
But that's good. Like, because even as I think about, if you're a 6 or 7-figure entrepreneur, a Black business owner, and you don't know where to go, if you feel like you're alone, if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to that gets how you feel or gets the pressures of being a business owner in today's climate, guess what we do? I want to introduce you to the Traffic Sales and Profit Mastermind. Now, in the TSP Mastermind, we have a 12-month program that's going to help you reach your next 6, 7, or 8 figures in business over the course of a year. Now, along that year, we have one-on-one coaching, we have accountability, we have community, we have live events, and everything you need in order to reach the next level. For more information, visit us at www.trafficsalesandprofit.com. College now, we had a kid out of college, we had a kid in college, and we got some about to go. And one of the conversations we have with them is just realistically, even if we can afford to send you, we just may not.
Right.
Right? Because now, where at a small amount, you may be like, hey, just live your dream, enjoy your year.
Yeah.
Now it's an honest conversation of, okay, like, what are you doing when you come out? And does this investment, like you said, like if this is like gonna be $150,000 investment over the next 4 years, like, does the job you'll have coming out of it match up?
Does it make sense?
Does the position match up?
Does it make sense?
Does your aspiration, like, it's a whole lot of other factors in that I think we need to be talking about too, to say, like you said, to say, hey, you know what? Well, if this is what you really want to dream to do, and the salary doesn't match up, or like say, even if it's like, hey, even if a family has the money, it might be better to put that money somewhere else
Absolutely.
than in that pocket and say, hey, let's go to an in-state school with an in-state tuition, or all these other things that we can do. And
Yep.
and like just the landscape has changed a lot. But I think it's back to what you said, right? Looking at the overall comprehensive picture.
Yeah, and so I'm hearing that conversation time and time again. Is becoming more and more popular. So even with the pandemic shut down a lot of hoops that we used to have to jump through even in order to get in college.
Okay.
SAT, a lot of colleges and universities may not require you to take the SAT or the ACT anymore for entry.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're a lot of schools are saying you don't have to take it. Just come submit your application.
At these prices, they like, if you got the money, hey, you
Listen, that let me know right there. It's about making this profit.
Exactly.
It's about the profit. And so So the point I was trying to make was a lot of tech companies like Google, they are coming up with their own program. Like, you don't need a college degree to come work with us. Come through our apprenticeship program. We're going to teach you exactly the skills you need to code or to do this type of work. And people are set for life. Fortunately, with our generation, with the advancements of technology, we have seen time and time again success stories of people. You don't need a college degree to be successful, to be wealthy, to make the kind of money that you want to make. You just need a skill set, some hustle, some work ethic, some go get, and you can do it. So I applaud parents who are challenging the system, right? Of course, I grew up old school where we were taught, go to school, get a good job. You work that job for 20 years or more, and you retire from that job, and then you can enjoy life. But we know now you can totally flip that whole concept on its head. Our kids today can literally start making money with a phone and a YouTube channel.
True.
Right? We have seen it, and or all these teenagers winning gaming competitions, and then big brands, coming to them to be testers or to be brand ambassadors. Now, some of that may be short-lived, but it does make you stop to think, to be like, okay, what can we really do? What are my kids' passions? What are the things that they enjoy doing, and how can we start monetizing it? And that's on the parents, right? So even in your community, you have kid entrepreneurs. You have a bunch of young entrepreneurs who aren't even college age yet. But the thread that they all have in common is they have those nurturing parents who are intentional about supporting them, nurturing them, giving them the guidance so that they can succeed. So, I mean, it's an option. You got options.
Yeah.
College is not the only way.
All right, and I think that's the main thing people need to know, that they are. And like I said, as not just for the children, for parents, I say really taking a look at like what is the goal, outcome, and the whole comprehensive picture. Now I know you have a book, right?
Yes.
Where it's all about teaching them how to fish, right, and teaching your children and employing principles. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what are the 5 kind of key principles that you say parents should be able to influence their children with?
Yep. So we start with the first principle, which is work hard and be rewarded, right?
Okay.
So like I mentioned earlier, connecting that relationship between work and the rewards. You don't do your chores, you don't get an allowance. You don't work, you don't get paid, right? So just talking to them and really trying to see, is there an entrepreneurial interest? If so, let's feed it a little bit. Let's see where it goes. But you have to give your kids a chance, right?
Yeah.
Have the conversation, make sure they understand that. The second one would be saving first and consistently. And so saving may be one of the most difficult money habits to master, especially now, because it requires discipline. It requires patience.
Yeah, patience.
And when we live in a world where you can literally click a button on a phone and a box, whatever you ordered, is there the next day or within hours, it's hard to teach our kids that delayed gratification. There was a big social media trend going on. It's based off of the marshmallow test, but they were calling it the fruit snack challenge, where the celebrities would leave a bowl of fruit snacks with their toddler, maybe 3-4 years old, instruct the kids, don't eat it, I'll be right back. Don't eat it, I'll be right back. They'll leave while they're recording the kid to see if the child eats it. But the whole goal, the whole purpose of that, again, dates back to the Marshmallow Act, where the result of that was, okay, if your child has the self-discipline to withhold, to not give in to the temptation, they'll be more successful in life, right? They'll be better savers. They'll be better with money. And, all of it's never too late to teach your child. So if you did the fruit snack challenge and your toddler failed, don't take that as an end all be all.
They like, just like I thought. I knew you was the one. I knew it.
Right. You can correct, and it comes through teaching and education, repetitive, right? So Okay, so saving and investing.
Okay.
So teaching them that foundation. And, people talk about investing. Investing is a hot topic, but you have to start with saving first, right? Saving is that foundation. And once they get that down packed, then they can start investing where they're leaving their money in for years or decades at a time to see that real wealth and to see the real benefit of compound interest.
Mhm.
All right. So the third one would be spend wisely and consciously. And so this is where we want to talk to our kids about, comparison shopping, creating a budget, and all those things are like boring to kids. So the key is you have to tie it to something that they're actually interested in. So with the teenagers, it can be, a lot of teenagers want to buy their first car.
Mhm.
All right, let's go look at the cars. Let's see how much the cars cost. How would you pay for that? Okay, it includes insurance, talking to them about that. A lot of girls get really excited about prom season now that schools and things are opening up. Okay, but they want the dress, the hair, the nails, all the things. So let's add that up. Let's go add all that stuff up and see what it amounts to. But just talking to them, but tying it to things that they're interested in
Okay.
is the real key. And when I say spend wisely and consciously, we also want to make sure our kids are thinking, that they're critical thinkers, that they're aware of, where they're spending their money,
Mhm.
the people they're spending their money with. Do those companies align with your family values? Do those companies align with your personal values? If they're old enough to, want to do, go to Coachella or go to big concerts, then you are also old enough to go research and see, all right, I love Papa John's pizza, but let's go look at the leadership of Papa John's. And do those people look like us? And do they support us? And what are they doing to give back to our community so that they can consciously make choices about where they're spending their money, right?
That's good.
The fourth one is use credit responsibly. And so a lot of parents are like, well, Holly, my child is 8. Why do I need to be talking to our kids about credit? Well, it's because money is starting to become invisible, right? With electronic payments, with virtual currency, it's very easy to teach kids about money when they have something tangible
Right.
and
Exactly.
finite in hand that they can pass off. They can see the transaction. But our kids now are being taught to dip, swipe, tap, when they are like early, whether it's from purchasing stuff through these gaming apps,
Yep.
Cash App. Now, every time somebody has a birthday, they post it in their child, Cash App. Okay, so that's all about spending money.
And I'm not sending your kids anything.
Right.
You just save your Facebook post with your Cash App. I'm not sending your kids anything.
Send you a book. I'll send no. So yes, I'm with you on
Okay,
that.
thank
All
you.
right. And then the last money habit is to give generously. So, of course, we want to raise money smart kids, money savvy kids, but we also want them to be adults that have empathy, that have compassion, that have a heart, right? So that's one of the big things just about our consumer culture. It's all about me, me, me. And so we have to be intentional about teaching our kids about gratitude, being grateful for the things that they have, so that we aren't raising this whole entitled generation.
Yeah.
And so showing them what it looks like to give back, talking to them about the causes that are important to us, that would then, and asking them what's important to you, what's something that you want to spend your time doing. I usually talk about giving through the 3 T's of giving. You can give through your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Okay.
And so it's important to capture it all, but it's just 5. It's just 5 building blocks. If you spend some time, if you are intentional about covering each of these pillars, then your child should have the confidence to go out and make wiser financial decisions. Yeah. Will they make mistakes? Absolutely. But they are going to remember, what they were taught, what happened to them when they did this. And so we've got to allow them
Yeah.
some time to practice it. That's why I said we got to start earlier than high school.
And I love what you just said, because I think a lot of times newer parents will have in their mind. We talked about this before we started, taping. Hey, I'm going to just do all these things. My kid just going to take it up, and they just going to be right. But that doesn't always happen. That's not always the case. But I love how you said, hey, it's almost like building up and equipping them like their toolbox.
Yeah.
And like in their toolbox, like you can niggle your hammer and niggle your screwdriver and then, niggle your wrench. And you give them all the tools so that when they need it, they come back. And that's what even I found, like with our kids, right? The more we build into them, they may or may not catch it all right then. They may not appreciate it all right then, right?
Yeah.
All those different things. But then later on down the line, it always comes back.
Yep.
To where, hey, they get a hold of it, or they realize the things that we said, hey, they really are true, right?
Absolutely.
Kids don't believe in their parents. Like, hey, they really are true. Or, hey, I'm so glad that I learned these things, or we see it kind of acted out in their actions.
Yeah.
Whether they want to admit it or not, like we see them actually doing the things that we instilled early on.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's another mistake that parents make. They think, oh, lecture once and then we expect mastery. But I relate that to how many times have you had to go back and show your child, oh, you thought you washed these dishes, but you missed a spot.
Yeah.
So I need you to go back, and you have to go back over and over again. Sometimes some of the most basic things, some of the most basic chores, some of the most basic rules of your household. It's the same thing with money. It's not a one and done. It's got to be something, because as they get older and more mature, they're going to see things differently. They're going to have different experiences. They may have new friends who can do certain things that they can't do. And so it's all a continuous learning where you have to revisit it over and over again to make sure they got it. And the whole point of that is so they don't come back to you once they leave the house. And like, hey, I need, I did it. So if I did it, what you think your kids gonna do?
So if someone's listening, they say, hey, I want to impact the young people in my life. I want to get a hold of this. I love what Holly's talking about. Can you share with them again the book? Like, how to get the book, talked about your workshops, like how can they tap into you, and what do you do, and then how can they find these different pieces?
Yep. So the way that I work with the community is through our financial literacy resources. You can find my book, Teach Your Child to Fish, 5 Money Habits Every Child Should Master, everywhere books are sold. But then I really love working with the kids through our money camps. So we have money camps for kids ages 10 to 14, and also for teenagers 14 and up. And then, of course, I do curated workshops with parents on the things that you could be doing now, today, to kind of give your kids that financial head start that they deserve. And so you can find all of that at themasterplaybook.com and across social media at The Master Playbook.
So thank you, Holly. I'm sure people have been transformed by this conversation, gave them a lot to think about and a lot to take control in their own lives, right, with the young people in their lives to get it going. Don't forget, y'all, the main thing I want you to do once you watch every one of these episodes is to take action. So again, think about the young people in your life. Think about what you want them to know. Get a hold of Holly's resources. They are dynamic. They are amazing. And they will help you be able to get the information that you need to get in front of those young people into their hands so that they can then move forward. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We drop new episodes every single week. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Enjoy the next episode.